The Box Seat, brought to you by our stable of sponsors. Hi everyone, welcome to this edition of Your Box Seat. Yes, brought to you by our stable of sponsors, and it's pretty much as simple as this. If we didn't have the stable of sponsors, we wouldn't be here. Someone who's not here with us today is Michael Guerin. He's been over at the Victoria Cup and he's doing some business in Sydney, so we welcome back Matthew Cross, the voice of Canterbury Harness Racing. Matt, thanks so much for your time. Really key time in the build-up towards the Cup as we are now inside 4 weeks.
Comes around quick, doesn't it, Greg? Hi to you, hi to everyone, and thanks for having me back on the show once again. And what an exciting time of year to be delving into it. Methven Cup has been and gone, and we've still got plenty of features to look forward to with a huge night this Friday. Then we've obviously got Ashburton, Kaikoura, the Cup trials, so still plenty to unfold.
Yeah, certainly, Matthew. We've got a lot of preview tonight around Addington on Friday night, which I would argue is the best set of fields we've had in the last couple of years, and all bodes well towards the big day in less than 4 weeks. Don't forget to go to addington.co.nz for your tickets. I can tell you, corporate-wise, if you're looking to get corporate tickets, you need to do so pretty quickly because most of those areas are selling out fast. Matthew mentioned Methven. Let's go back to the Mount Harding from last week. Here they are turning for home. The 2020 New Zealand Cup winner Self Assured's gone up and taken the lead, but it was the outsider, Smithy's Terror. And Corbin Newman, his biggest moment in harness racing to date, grabs the lead for Team Dunn and holds off Team Telfer, who were charging home at the line. Ultra wise guy that was. Here's the finish and post-race comments.
But Smithy's Terror and Corbin Newman have won the Methven Cup. Smithy's Terror beats home Ultra Wise Guy. Self Assured not far away. They could be in photos. Then McAndrew Aviator.
I reckon that'll be a pretty big thrill.
Yeah, probably the biggest one of my career so far, Greg, yeah.
Talk us through the run you got. You're getting a nice run, one off the fence, in a hot field though, but he's had a great campaign.
He has, he's really stepped up this campaign and he's done a great job, yeah. I sort of bobbled away early, but once he hit his straps, he sort of got himself into a nice posse and sort of had to make a move at the 800, but I managed to get back down to the running line about the quarter, so then he just sort of showed his true colours up the straight. So.
Yeah. Look, it's a long straight here at Methven and you're looming up outside horses like Self Assured and Spankham. At what point did you think you had the race in the bag?
Well, I sort of didn't. I sort of half pulled out at the top of the straight and they hadn't pulled out yet. And I thought, oh, well, they'll take some catching. But he sort of grabbed the bit again and I thought, here we go. And I started screaming.
Yeah. Well, Robert, Jenna, Johnny, giving you this opportunity, I'm sure that you're pretty excited and rapt that they gave you that chance.
Yeah, I'm over the moon. Obviously, Johnny and RJ and Jenna, they've been a big part of my career to date, so I can't thank them enough. And obviously, the good owners put a junior on in a group race is pretty good of them.
All right. Not too sure if they can keep you on for the Cup, but I'll tell you what, he's not going to be out of it, is it? Because he's such a good stayer and he follows speed.
He sort of just keeps going, yeah, and he tries his heart out. So yeah, no, he's not right out of it, no.
Mandy, his preparation just continues to go in the right way.
Yeah, it does. Look, Tim said he got a bit keen today, which was probably detrimental to the finish, but we're very happy with him, yeah.
He's come through the race by the look of him beautifully. Where do you go next?
He goes to Ashburton next, yeah. Him and BDJ will head to Ashburton. BDJ might run next week, but he goes to Ashburton and then hopefully that's enough.
Mark, in terms of a Cup preparation, where do you think he's at?
I'd say he's probably about 90%, Greg. I think this run today will improve him again and his performance.
Yeah, look, he did a power of work and it's not easy to do it when you've got to go around the entire field, but he stuck it out well.
Oh, he did. It was just a neck and a head, so, it was a game run and, just been a place or two closer, well, it might have been a different result, but no, he did a lot of work and, very pleased with him.
See him at Ashburton?
Yes, we will, yeah.
Gone very good.
Yeah, really happy with the wee fella. Back to the grass obviously helps, but he generally just likes a truly run race. His last start in the Canterbury Classic, to the eye probably looked disappointing, but when we went back and looked over sectionals, we were actually really happy with him, and it was obviously a walk and a sprint home. So back to a truer run race today really helped.
Yeah, look, you were held up for a fair bit of the long Methven straight, but the way he's found the line in these types of races, he's not without a place chance.
No, definitely not, and obviously his manners are going to get him a long way. Like, he's generally pretty safe, and the run along the mark has helped today, but he still had to be competitive, and there are a lot of good horses around him. Like, he went to the line with the plug still in, waiting for that gap, but yeah, we couldn't be happier with them.
Another top performance.
Yeah, it was a really good run. He keeps stepping up.
Yeah. Look, today, what were your expectations going into it? Because he needs to move up the ranking points a bit, and on that performance he might.
Yeah, well, you know, with those better ones off back marks, we thought we had a chance to probably put him in the race a wee bit more, and you know, he won a good race.
His third go at the race, I tell you what, he didn't have much luck either.
No, he didn't, Greg. No, to be honest, I completely stuffed that up. I mean, I made the wrong call at the wrong time, but the horse went super, and you know, and while I said I did stuff up, it was you know, great to see a good mate in Corbin Newman get a big victory like that. He's a great young junior driver that you know, I just got joy from seeing that as well. So while I stuffed it up, it was you know, great to see Corbin get a big race.
He is going good races, your guy, though.
Yeah, definitely. Yep. No, he honestly, he would have gone pretty close today. But in saying that, we've still got a horse, and you know, hopefully he might be you know, competitive in those low-grade cup races. Hopefully.
What did you make of that?
I thought he was just okay, Greg. I did that little bit of work going around, but you know, at that grade, they've got to be able to do a little bit of work at some stage. So no, I was a bit disappointed. I thought he was a bit plain.
The old training game's a bit of a challenge, isn't it?
It tries you at times, Greg, doesn't it?
Yeah. What do we do now with Cranbourne, because he's clearly not happy at the start? Mind you, there were a few others playing up around at the start point too.
Yeah, and I'll go back and have a look at that, but I mean, you can bitch and grizzle about, you know, whether they should have turned them all in and out, and then you're sitting there waiting for other horses, and you know, no rights and wrongs, is there, Greg? So yeah, he's got to get his shit together pretty quick, or yeah, I've said to the boys, we'll probably go around Friday night and then make a call after that.
You just got to get his confidence back, don't you?
Yeah, but we've run out of time, aren't we? And like, we're putting him back on the unruly. Well, really, you can't win any race on the unruly when you're this good. So it's painful, but it's racing, and you got to keep your chin up and take it on the chin and move on.
So great to get that insight from not only the winning driver Corbin Newman, but those just in behind. Matthew, the big question marks out of the race. First of all, what did you make of Self Assured? And of course the other, also slightly disappointing, was Spankham.
Yeah, he was very disappointing. I thought Spankham and South Coast started in as well. He obviously wasn't travelling that well when they went, because Brent Mangos stayed in and didn't really find a whole lot. So he may well be on the back foot. Spankham, a lot of improvement to come. Self Assured, simple as this, Greg, could not have gone any better. You probably couldn't tell quite as much watching on the TV, but being there live from about the 1100 metres, I don't think I've ever seen a field of horses go as quick on a grass track. Kirsten Green had the foot down big time, and at that point of the race, Self Assured was making his move. He'd already made up 30 metres on the field, had to work around them, sit outside them, and he was so brave. And when you compare where Spankham and South Coast Arden, and even those who started off 20 metres in the race finished, his run was mammoth. So I think he's on the right page. Big question marks around Cranbourne at the start, with particular reference to the fact that he's been to the races twice, Greg. He's missed away both times. He hasn't had a run, so he's well and truly on the back foot. Got You Covered was very good, sneaking up in behind, but I think he'll find it a lot tougher getting back onto the grit tracks, particularly under the free-for-all conditions. But Self Assured's going the right way, Craig, and I think he'll be well and truly on song come Cup Day.
Yeah, speaking of Matt Peden, there hasn't been a lot of money for Self Assured, and there are a few critics coming out and saying he didn't go that good, but I'm with Mark Purden. If he's 90% and got that close, and that's not his grand final, of course, he'll go to Ashburton now along with a few others. The other horse out of the race that probably needs to lift a wee bit on that performance anyways, Can Go, but he gets his chance in Addington on Friday night, and we'll preview that race very shortly. Up to 14th in the rankings goes Smithy's Terror. Cranbourne drops out of the 15, and there's a bit of movement there, and potential movement from the next horse we have a look at, Old Town Road. Here he is in front, Zach Butcher for John Dickey, of course part owned also by Joshua. Gee, this is a beautiful drive, got round to the lead at the right time. Hot and Treacherous outstanding in second, fresh up. Be really interested to find out where he's going to head next. But he was excellent, Matt. I thought home in 55.7, 27.9. Last Tango in Heaven was also good, fresh up in third. So yeah, Hot and Treacherous is just in the cup field at this stage, sits on 15th, and that horse, Matthew, Old Town Road, he now goes to the Ashburton Flying Stakes. On SENZ Radio, Trots Talk on Sunday, we had John Dickey on. He said he can decide, as in the horse, whether he's ready to go to the IRT New Zealand Trotting Cup. And if he turns up and runs in the top 3 or 4 at Ashburton, Matthew, he might pick himself a place.
I think he's a bit untapped as well, Greg. In 12 months' time, we could be saying Old Town Road's one of our top tier horses. He pricks his ears and he sort of doesn't really let down on the bit as yet. He's doing it on natural raw ability, but he's just so fast and he can stay. So Ashburton Flying Stakes, as we know, we say it each and every year, Greg, is possibly the best guide leading into the Cup. If he were to step, put himself in a good position and some of the big guns having to do some work, I'm sure that they'll know that he's there. And the fact that he's going to have a trip away as well is going to be so beneficial. He's a good horse, Old Town Road, as are the second and third horses. Hot and Treacherous, I think he's going like this. The more runs he gets under his belt, he'll just get better and better. And absolutely no knock on Last Tango in Heaven either. But you're looking forward to seeing the North Islanders come down to the south. And I guess John Dickey will be just waiting to get that gauge on where he sits.
Yeah, look, he knows his way around a good horse, John, as we very well know. And he said this horse just wants to get there and do everything really quickly. He's only had 11 starts. He's won 8 of them. But, man, he's got real talent. And Zachary Butcher loves him. I know that for absolute sure. All right, with Garrards, let's head across the Tasman as all of these form lines start to come together. What about this performance, Matthew? Rock and Roll Do. Mick Stanley, comfortable sitting parked, goes past Expensive Ego. There's some really smart horses. Better Eclipse to his inside. Copy That, a former Cup winner. Honolulu Bay, who they rate highly. And look at Mick Stanley. Had time to salute as he went over the line. 54-mile rate. Gee, there's so much to like about this horse. There's a bit of Yule Star about him. There's a bit of toughness from, say, a horse like Poplar Arm or Gamalite. He comes to New Zealand now. He'll be at Ashburton. He flies across the Tasman on Thursday, Matthew, and I can't wait for him to get here, and the market has been reflected, and we'll touch on that in a moment.
Get him here and get him here right now, Greg, because this is the horse that is going to bring, I think, the most excitement and the most intrigue to the IRT New Zealand Cup. There's a lot of stars that are going to be heading to the big one, but the fact that we have this Australian interest, and it's not a third or fourth tier Australian, we're talking about one of the best horses in Australasia at the moment, one of the best stayers who can also sprint and is incredibly willing at the back end of his races, coming to our big race, taking on our best horses. And it's something that I do think we've been missing out on, particularly in the last couple of years, Greg, is those trans-Tasman clashes that we saw for many years prior. Obviously, the travel restrictions put a stop to that a lot. But the fact that he's coming, the likelihood that Majestic Cruiser will be coming, they won't come here to die wondering. They aren't sitting out the back and hoping that it's a truly run race. They'll be up front doing battle if they step away. The IRT New Zealand Cup's going to be a cracker, Greg, and it's been made all the more exciting with the addition of this horse. Copy That, I thought, was good in behind. What was your opinion of his run? I
thought
felt
he was
as though his
excellent.
momentum,
Yep.
he just lost his momentum a bit.
Yep, it's only a short straight there at Melton, about 150 metres. And what I liked, Matthew, was he took a length off Better Eclipse, who I rate really highly. Got to see him a couple of times in Queensland. He won the Sunshine Sprint and did that in brilliant fashion. And yeah, I really like that part of it. I spoke to Ray Green yesterday. He said he's right on song, exactly where I want to have him. I wouldn't have been able to get the fitness that he needed, because remember, he had a long time off and he spent a lot of time in a box if he'd stayed in New Zealand. So he's booked on that flight to come here on the 1st of November, as is this horse, Majestic Cruiser. Now here's the footage of his standing start yesterday at Menangle with race driver Cam Hart and the bike. They come up to the tapes. And yes, it's hard to get a line, very much like the Rock and Roll Do trial of a couple of weeks ago. There's only 2 horses. But I like the way he steps away here, Matthew. He has a look at it. He goes good as gold, hits his hobbles very quickly. Is he going to be first out in an IRT New Zealand Cup? Well, on that, you'd probably say no, but when I spoke to Jason Grimson yesterday, he said, you can lock me in. He'll go to Menangle next week. He goes to the Len Smith Mile, and then he'll fly across and be on that flight down here on the 1st of November. And we know how potent he is, Matthew, over distances further than 2200. He's a great stayer. He won the Blacks of Fake and, sat outside Spirit of St. Louis and did it in great style for the last 400 metres. If he comes, they'll know he's in the race.
And the fact that our New Zealand horsemen and women have got so much respect for him, having seen him here for the race by Grins and saw the mammoth effort that he put in to run so close to Self-Assured. Another fantastic addition. I reckon off that standing start trial there, it looks a beautifully gated horse and he's a very sensible animal as well. If he were to drew the front, I don't think he'd disgrace himself in terms of putting himself somewhere close to the speed. I just wonder how that sort of mile Australian kind of races stack up over a 2 mile around the Addington Raceway. I feel as though it's going to be a really genuine run cup this year with a lot of moves like an old school cup, rather than horses rolling to the top and popping around and running a 55 half. So could be survival of the fittest. And the 3 horses you just mentioned, copy that, Rock and Roll Do and Majestic Cruiser are all going to be 100% fit. So you're really looking forward to it.
Yeah, it should be an outstanding addition, especially if we get them all together. Let's have a look at the market for it as it sits at the moment. So Self-Assured $3.20, Rock and Roll Do, $26 he was about 3 weeks ago, into $3.50, and they cannot turn the tap off. Copy that. $9 defending champion. Akuta, still a question mark, but he does go to the Group 1 at Addington, the Flying Stakes this week, and it's still on for him to go to the Flying Stakes at Ashburton. BD Joe at that same line of 11. Older Wise Guy 13. Majestic Cruiser 13. South Coast Arden, off the back of that disappointing performance, also 13. And Old Town Road, $21. That's a look at the road to the IRT New Zealand Cup. Let's, with Garrard, stay at Australia and go to some of those other features from Melton on Saturday night. I'm in love with this horse, Matthew. Leap to Fame. His 3rd derby. He won the New South Wales, Queensland and now Victoria Derby. Grant Dixon knows when to get him bang on for the big occasion. He was spot on for this.
And it just shows, Greg, in the big races, Michael Guerin sounds like a broken record saying it each and every week, but he's 100% right. Pegs. You can't win these races off the pegs. And the fact that he found the pegs after 200 metres and was so good was the winning of the race. And here's another fine example, Greg, of Encipher, who won the Oaks. Now, this horse's mother was actually bred here in New Zealand by David and Catherine Butt, so it's a good Kiwi breed coming through. Emma Stewart 1st and 2nd, and Moravita pretty good in behind, but again, Peg's the place to be.
Yeah, I thought Moravita was excellent, but yeah, Encipher too strong. Kate Gath getting the best out of her, and a brilliant performance to take out the Oaks. The other race we're having a look at is the Make Mine Cullen. Here's Tough Tilly. I think she's beaten Ladies in Red maybe 2, might even be 3 times. That's Ladies in Red to her outside, first up this campaign. Matthew, they rated 151.4. Home in 55, 126.7. These fillies, Treachery in 3rd of Emma Stewart's, are quite brilliant, aren't they?
They certainly are, Greg. And if you reverse the run, Ladies in Red and Tough Tilly, Ladies in Red probably wins by 3 or 4 lengths getting away. The run of Ladies in Red was ginormous on those sectionals, and again in front on the pegs, the place to be. But Tough Tilly's a very, very good mare. No knock on Ladies in Red. Looking forward to seeing where they head with her now. But gee, Emma Stewart and Clayton Tonkin, each and every week they just turn up to the races and they just keep on winning. So a real force to be reckoned with.
Yeah, and just back to Rock and Roll Do, great to hear Mick Stanley talking about his pathway, not going to the Inter-Dominion. He's got the Race by Grins on the radar, so that might tweak a few people's interests that hold slots in the 2nd edition of that very good race. So terrific night there at Melton, and Tough Tilly's now won half a starts and nearly $500,000. Sticking with the IRT New Zealand Cup build-up, if you like, we'll start previewing some of the races at Addington on the stellar race night on Friday night. Let's go to BD Joe winning the Canterbury Classic in front, spank him in the trail. On the outside, of course, Self-Assured. Look, BD Joe is very, very difficult to beat when he finds his way to the front, Matthew. But it won't be easy for him this week, although he's got a few friends back off the marks.
Yeah, it's going to be hard from drawn 1 off 20. I'm sort of looking at the field, Greg, and trying to find who is going to make the first move and try and find the pegs in front. Do they stay there? And then secondly, who else is going to come looking? I think your horses that could well do the work in the race could be All-American Lover, drawn 1 off the 10 metres. If she were able to settle handy, she could be going close to winning. BD Joe 1 off 20 is quite hard. Kango, I thought, was near enough in the Methven Cup to say that with the 3 runs under his belt, he could be the horse to make a move in the race. Don't know where we're at with Krug, and Cranbourne's obviously got the step, but he's missed out on 2 vital runs. So on paper, I think being under handicap conditions, Greg, makes for a really intriguing sort of affair, and I'm sure that those off the front won't die wondering either. The likes of Heisenberg and the Falcon could set up a good early clip. So at this point of betting, Greg, I think it's a little bit of a head scratcher, particularly with the draw of BD Joe.
Yeah, the Falcon off the unruly. It's not going to be easy starting from barrier 1 either. $2.50 for BD Joe, looking at the market. Stablemate All-American Lover. She was brilliant first up. She's $4.80. And then you're out to the likes of Steal the Show 9, Krug 9, Shan Noble about $8.50. I thought he was very good first up and should be pretty competitive in this. And of course, He's a Sport might be the forgotten horse in the race for Colin and Julie De Philippi, around $12. We have a Group 1 on Friday night at Addington Raceway. Here's the last time these 3-year-olds clashed. It's the Air Park Canterbury Flying Stakes. Republican Party was doing exactly that in front. Akuta widest out on the track. Franco Mack, who's drawn beautifully this week, should be pretty competitive from that draw. But what did you make of the Group 1, Matthew? I see they put up $1.70 for Akuta, which I thought was pretty fair.
Take it now. I reckon he'll start $1.40, Greg. Akuta, drawn 1 from the outside. No knock on that run whatsoever at Addington. I think the key around these horses, Greg, is they're fine-tuned to run in races where they get home in 56, 57, but they run their middle half in 57 or 58. Now, the middle half was the telling factor of the back end of this race, where they ran home in 54.7 off the front, and you've got rocks in your head if you think that any horse in New Zealand is going to make ground on a horse like Republican Party in front doing the business. So I do think personally, Greg, that some people are being rather harsh on the run of Akuta there last time out. We'll see who the big boys are when they get out over a longer trip. They run that middle half in 57. I would say there's one horse in this race that I want to be on, and he wears the green colours, and his name's Akuta. So he'll be winning, I think, Greg. Republican Party's the logical second selection in the race. Follows out Don Morrow, who's likely to hold up early. Republican Party could settle in behind Akuta if Mark Purdon wants to push the button. And yeah, Mark's obviously said that he maybe was a wee bit round last time out, but it wasn't his big finale. He's got a $100,000 race on Friday night, and I would be very surprised if Akuta wasn't winning.
Yeah, I agree with you. I do think Franco Mack might come out and have a decent look early, and of course if he found the front, then I could see Akuta pressing on and getting the lead. It's over the 1980. It's now at Group 1 level. It's the Flying Stakes, the traditional lead up to the Derby. And just on that, the Sunshine Stars, a new sale which is being run by Racing Queensland, the Creek Albion Park. They've got on board and are sponsoring the Derby, so we'll have a little bit more in the build-up towards that big race. Of course, the massive day that will be Sunday the 4th of December with 8 Group 1s at Addington Raceway. Time for a short break. When we come back, a whole lot more previews, still some from Addington, and the Waikato Bay of Plenty Harness Racing Club. They have their spring rewards meeting on Thursday night. Welcome back into your box seat. Let's continue our look at Addington Raceway on Friday night. 12 incredible races there. The richest of them all, though, Matthew, is the New Zealand Bloodstock Standardbred Harness Million. Here's the race from last week, the Woodlands Stud Sire Stakes heat. There is Don't Stop Dreaming getting the lead late in the piece and starving off the likes of Ultra Meteor. Look, if you could have predicted a barrier draw or worked out a barrier draw to make it an even contest, you couldn't have come up with a better one. Merlin, who's unbeaten at the trials and on race day 7 from 7, comes up with the outside of the front row. Ultra Meteor inside back row, provided, wish me luck, the ballot comes out. And Don't Stop Dreaming, who was fresh up, and he's had an interrupted preparation this time in. Of course, he is unbeaten on race day too, Matthew. Draws the outside of the second row. Just makes it more intriguing than if they'd drawn all of them handy on the front row.
I love the draw for Merlin, Greg. That was just sensational what that horse was able to pull off at Cambridge last time out. He's had to come 5, 6 wide around the corner, probably off balance and doing it, having to pick up the leaders. The hood couldn't be pulled. It was a superb effort. I think Zachary Butcher, I'm not going to tell him how to drive the horse, but the logical is that you go forward and try and settle in front of Don't Stop Dreaming. If you go back from what will be barrier number 7, you're going to settle in behind Don't Stop Dreaming, and I don't know if Merlin would get past Don't Stop Dreaming, but in the same breath, I don't know if Don't Stop Dreaming would get past Merlin if he were able to settle in front. So Merlin does have enough pace to work forward, and I think he'll have the respect there that anything off the front row is going to hand to him. Therefore, Don't Stop Dreaming could be 7, 8 lengths away and having to come 3 wide from the mile to beat Merlin, which it could be 8 or 10, or it could be it could be like 3 or 4 seconds to make up over that last mile for what is a very good horse, Don't Stop Dreaming. But Merlin, I think, is the bet this week, Greg, in terms of where the draws have got them. He's logical second select, Don't Stop Dreaming. Ultimeteor could be in a bit of a tricky spot if Wish Me Luck, the first emergency, comes out from 1 the second row. Charlie Brown obviously going good, but I think those 4 will be making up the trifecta. If I was having a bet, I'd be on Merlin. For you? Yeah, look, it's going to be interesting early. Natalie Rasmussen, I'm pretty sure, is confirmed for final collect. She'll either be that or Vinca B. Blair Orange will be the alternate driver there. But either way, I reckon they'll come out and have a decent look early. But yeah, I think Zach's got no choice. He's got to try and stay in front of the other 2 favourites. Just whether he can just grab the lead early, certainly does have the speed. So I'm going to plumb for him, but it's a great race. He's come up $3.30 second favourite as we look at the market. $3 for Don't Stop Dreaming. Then you're out to Son of Mac, Matthew. What have you made of him thus far? Because I know the Kyle Marshall barn are very, very keen on him, and it was hard to get a line on just where he's at after that gallop last time. Yeah, I spoke with Kyle midweek, Greg. He's staying out at Bob Butt's base in Wood End Beach, and he was happy with how the horse had travelled down, and he was really impressed with his run at Cambridge last time out and behind Merlin and doing things wrong. Nice barrier draw to work with. Just depends on where he's going to get in the run, but he's a gorgeous-looking horse as Son of Mac, and obviously the bookmakers are warranting a lot of respect around him, opening him at $9, so there may well be something in that, but that time of year, Greg, with these 2-year-olds, there's a few reputations on the line. You and I know how easy it is to put a wrap on a horse, but races talk, don't they? And I'm sure that there'll be a few reputations that are built and a few dented over the next couple of months. And I think this race will be a big telling factor in that. Yeah, it certainly will be. But isn't it great that we're seeing these horses have the time to develop and therefore the numbers? And I just want to touch on that briefly, Matthew. You don't want to be negative, but the Sires Stakes series this year, now it's changed. Of course, the old 2-year-old Sires Stakes was run in May and they had a maiden heat and then 2 in the north, 2 in the south, and that was fine. But I do think the Sires Stakes board are going to have a look at the number of heats that they have. There's only 5. The first one is for maidens only, and then there's 2 in the north, 2 in the south. We found at Addington last Friday night about 8 horses had to transfer into another race, at least 8, so they couldn't get a start, and we're going to be facing the same problem at Ashburton, which is the last heat. You'll find the second favourite, Beckham, will go there. He's gone to the trials today, but there'll be horses that can't even get a start in a heat, and therefore you're going to find, Matthew, that horses that finish 4th and 5th may well force their way into the final. Don't we want to have the horses that have won the heats? And of course, you can start in, when you've won one, you can start in another one, but you draw wide on the front row. I think there needs to be a revamp of the 2-year-old Sires Stakes now, the final being on Cup Day, because I don't believe 5 heats is enough. Well, I think it's obviously something that everybody needs to get together with, Greg, particularly at such an important point of this industry with all of the changes that have gone on with the dates and the seasons. A little bit of a teething period, I guess, and it's hard to sort of say that we've got a teething period with such big money on offer, but it is the way that it is. And I'm with you. I do think that there has to be some sort of discussion and at least a little bit of thought around getting the best field together, utilising the crop that we've got. The thing that gets me, Greg, is we've got these 2-year-old boys. We've got a full field with emergencies in the Harness Million final for the 2-year-old boys. Couldn't get half a field for the 2-year-old fillies. So a little bit of a head scratcher, I guess, there in terms of the question being, where are all of our 2-year-old fillies? Are people just not bothering to pay up, or is it a weak crop? I don't know what the answers to that are. But in terms of your sire stakes discussion, Greg, I think that I would imagine there's been some sort of thought, or at least some quiet discussions going on around that in terms of horses that are missing out, because in years gone by, most horses are getting a crack. So, I do hope that there's some sort of discussion going on.
I'm sure Martin Pearson and the team will come up with the right solution there, but you're right, it is part of the evolution, if you like, of the new racing calendar. You mentioned the 2-year-old fillies. Let's preview their big dance. 150,000, this outstanding filly, Millwood Nike. She had no right to win this race. Kalua Flyby gets to the inside, and her last 100 metres was sensational. I spoke to Mark Purdon yesterday about her. He said she was tired when she came home, but she's picked up nicely. And again, barrier draw wise, there's only 6 in it, Matthew, and she's got barrier 6.
Put some on, Greg, and then keep putting it on. This is a serious horse. I could use a whole lot of words to describe her, but what she did there at Alexandra Park was superb. She lost her momentum around the corner, just couldn't quite pick herself up. But then when she did, wow, she was so explosive. 4 out of 4. She'll be 5 out of 5 there on Friday night at the Addington Raceway, Greg. 6-horse field. She's going to be 3-4 lengths at worst off the leader turning for home. And you've got 1, 2, 3, 4 horses in the race who are maidens. So the horse to beat's probably her stablemate Lovestruck, and she's had her covered in her last 2. So put it on, keep putting it on, Greg, and watch a proper horse go around in race number 6 at 4 minutes to 7 on Friday.
Yeah, she's $1.35, stablemate Lovestruck $3. Write your own ticket pretty much for the other 4 runners. It's also a chance for the 2-year-old trotters to go around. I think this is the key race you need to have a look at. This is the northern 2-year-olds coming south, and you'll see the Barry Purdon trained runner take it out. His name is Southern Diamond. He's by Creatine. Outside second row for him, $4.20 the price around Southern Diamond. But all the other horses around it, Halberg, Regal Girl, Luby Lil, they're all in this. Hard to get a line on them to compare them to, say, one over the line who's already been a winner. Air I Will's look good. Kiss and Run's done nothing wrong, Matthew. A tricky New Zealand bloodstock standard bred 2-year-old final.
I love watching the young trotters go around it. And I think our trainers, horsemen and women, get a real kick out of having a 2-year-old trotter, getting it trotting properly and see it go to the races and winning. There's a real fine art in these horses, whom some of them are a little bit loopy. They can be quite hard to handle. They're growing all the time. So to be able to maintain the preparation of a 2-year-old is no mean feat. And I think a real attribute to our great trainers. I'm just looking forward to watching them all go around, Greg. I don't have a particularly strong opinion in the race. Southern Diamond does look as though he's got plenty of upside, and the fact that Tony Hurley, he's opted for Regal Girl, may well say something about its chances. But yeah, it'll be a good one. 2 minutes after 6 on Friday. Certainly worth tuning in if you're a trotting fan.
Yeah, $4.20 about Southern Diamond. One over the line's actually favourite at $2.70. Monarch Prince has got a place chance from the inside draw at $31. Kiss and Run at $5. Regal Girl $9. So 75,000 New Zealand bloodstock standard bred harness million for the 2-year-old trotters. It's not the end of the features for Addington on Friday night. Just a sensational race night it is. The XCM Sport Canterbury Park Cup, of course, the last couple of editions of this. Sunday Sun has got the business done. Looking to repel him again this week will be the Greg Hope team, and I've got an opportunity, Greg and Nina that is, at Methven to discuss their 3-pronged attack. Another step to the Renwick Farms Dominion on Friday night. Your 3 gun trotters will be there. Most question marks over Muscle Mountain. And what did you put the gallop down to?
We're just trying to keep him really relaxed. I think he was actually too relaxed. He just stood there flat-footed, and no, he'll be fine this week. Ben will just keep him moving around at the start, and just he sort of warmed up the most quietest he's ever been, and yeah, I think he's just a bit quiet on it. He'll be fine.
All right, so he's worked since and everything's been fine.
Perfect. Yep. No, nothing to suggest that he'll do that again.
All right. What about Enhine, his win over the 1980, where his record at Addington is nothing short of startling, isn't it? It's just remarkable. Where's he at?
Yeah, we had a little trouble with tie-up in that, and like he was probably down a little notch the other day. Even with him running fourth, I thought he probably should have gone as fractionally better. But in saying that, he's working good, and hopefully that'll be under control by Friday night.
And we know what we get with Dash.
Yeah, he's actually, if anything, he's come on quite a bit. I think I might have just had him a little bit underdone. He's a little horse, and he gets away on you pretty easily. And yeah, originally they weren't going to have that race. They just chucked it in, and yeah, that's another story.
A great setting that is the Mount Harding at Methven, catching up there with a co-trainer of a three-pronged attack for this year's Canterbury Park Cup. Of course, Sunday Sun the last 2 years, and Oscar Bonavina has been a winner of this race too. Matthew, albeit 3 years ago. Looking at the market for it, here it is. And if you want to back Muscle Mountain, he's 280, as is Sunday Sun. I spoke to John Dunn about where he's at. He said he's a lot happier than he was 7 days ago. He'll be looking for him to trot all the way this time. Mataderos, his stable made at $9. Then you got Smokin' Bandar, who was excellent last time. Matthew loves Addington Raceway. It's won 5 times there already, $9 as well. Majestic Man and Oscar Bonavina, would you believe, $18 a pair.
Good race, Greg. Sunday Sun's the big question mark, isn't he? I don't think you could back him. He can win, but I don't know if you'd be wanting to back him at $2.80. Maybe just not enough meat on the bone around his chances. Muscle Mountain drawn 1 off 20 metres, not a big field. If Ben can step him away, I do think that he'll have the edge over them if he were to do things right. I was quite taken by the run of Oscar Bonavina at Motukarara and the Alabar DG Jones Memorial Trotters Cup. He carried a flat tyre from the 500 metres. He's heading the right way, Oscar Bonavina. I know that his first few runs back were maybe a little bit below par. Mataderos could be the big danger if he were to settle in front on the pegs. Only 2 horses off the 10 metres. Could be a bit of traffic. But if he were able to work through Mataderos and settle handy, they'll certainly know he's there. And Smokin' Bandar, super effort first up. First run in 4 months. Ran a 56 half off the front. So he's clearly got the wheels to match it with these sort of horses. Whether he'd be there at the back end of a solidly run Dominion would be another question. But as I said earlier in the show, Greg, this is the time of year to find out. Most people don't know, and these sort of races build towards that. 5 Wise Men could be the horse to come in here. This could be his year to potentially sneak into a good spot and win one of the big ones. 5 Wise Men. He had that hardening year last year through a lot of those big races, and I think he'll really come on from that. But another really good race. Don't have too much of an opinion in terms of betting into it, Greg. Muscle Mountain probably, but yeah, $2.80, short enough for those 2 favourites.
Yeah, and again, barrier draw wise, after what happened last time, you heard what Greg Hope had to say. He doesn't think it'll be a problem, but 1 off the 20 metres, well, would have, you know, if he'd drawn out a little bit wider, you probably would have felt a bit more comfortable. But the idea is to keep him moving, and if he does that, then he steps away, then he's clearly the one to beat. Yeah, $15 for 5 Wise Men if you wanted to follow him in. Looking at the Dominion market, and we'll get a chance to see Bolt for Brilliance first up very shortly. He's $2.70, equal favourite with Sunday Sun. You've got Muscle Mountain at $5.50, Mataderos $11, 5 Wise Men $17. Cambridge Raceway, the Waikato Bar of Plenty Harness Racing Club. Nobody could ever suggest they're not forward-thinking and a little bit out there sometimes with their ideas. They've got some new ones for the Raceway. So we got Tara Hughes to go and catch up with CEO David Branch and find out what they are.
Dave, exciting news this week regarding some up-and-coming developments at the Raceway.
Yeah, they've all been a long time in the making, so it's great to finally have them out there and be sharing them with everyone.
So what can we expect to see change at the Raceway?
Yeah, so we've got a few big projects happening. One of them is to replace the grandstand roof. So unfortunately, internal guttering has been a big problem for us there for a while. So that's an expensive exercise and one that's not too fun, but needs to be done. Other things, part of the strategic plan, include a new stable block for race night, which we know is well overdue and much needed, and then some more works within the grandstand. So we're looking to turn some underutilised space into revenue generating things. So we've got plans for a shared office space on the middle level, and we've got a gym tenant body fit moving in at the start of next month.
Obviously great news for the racing industry, but it's not just that, is it?
No, not at all. So we're fortunate. We're in a great town of Cambridge with a very supportive community. They love sport, and we want to make sure that everything we're doing feeds into that, and that we remain a good part of the community. So the announcements, we're involved in a working group with the council on some greenbelt land. Everything we're doing here, from our stables to anything we do in the middle of the track, we're looking to see how we can bring the community in and perhaps have them using them for sports teams training in the middle of winter and markets at the weekend and things like that. So yeah, definitely community focused as well as racing.
On the racing side of things, what can we expect from Cambridge Raceway over the next 12 months?
Yeah, so obviously our marquee event is the Race by Grins, so looking to build on what we did last year. Obviously intention to get that stake up to $1 million, so that's what we're working on at the moment, and then we're also looking at the possibility of adding a trotting slot race to the night as well to make it a real night of racing. So look out for those updates.
You've also announced 2 clubs. What can you tell us about them?
Yeah, so in conjunction with our financial membership with the Racing Club, we've also launched 2 new social memberships with the idea of attracting a new audience to our race meetings and to using the facility. So the first of those is the Taylor Street Club. That one's set to open on with a party on Methven Cup Day on November 1st. We've got a sign-up special there that if anyone joins before the end of this month, they get 2 months free. Obviously it kicks in with our new racing calendar on the 1st of January. And then our other club is the 1609, which is our premium sort of VIP club, and we're hoping to open that one early in the new year.
How can people get involved in those clubs?
Easiest way is just to head to the Cambridge Raceway website, cambridgeraceway.co.nz, and all the information's there, sign up process, and yeah, go from there.
So a big thank you to Tara Hughes and to David Branch there. Matthew, Cambridge are always thinking, they're keen to have the trot slot race as well to join the Race by Grins, and they've opened up a couple of membership clubs there. They're just thinking outside the square, and I love that about that region.
Yeah, for sure. And looking forward to that meeting next year as well, Greg. They had the Race by Grins last year and would have obviously learnt a lot from that. And now with the view to potentially having a Trotters slot race as well. Good on them. It's a really good club. Great place to watch the races as well. I think in terms of a viewing track, it's one of the best in New Zealand. I know it's not the biggest, but when you're there, you feel as though you could just about jump out and high-five the driver. So looking forward to that. And Greg, looking forward to their meeting this week as well.
Yeah, they've got those spring reward races. Just a couple other bits of news before we get into the preview of those. Habibi Inter, understand, has been retired from racing. Of course, the Dominion winner, the emphatic Dominion winner of a couple of seasons ago, maybe make that 3 seasons ago, has been retired. What a wonderful performer he has been. Now, I just heard from Gareth Hughes with regards to hot and treacherous Alexandra Park, if the race gets off the ground next week. Just taking it race by race at this stage, but the Cup is well and truly on the radar. Speaking of the Northern region, let's go to the preview of some of their features on Thursday night. Here's Benjamin Button. The last time, Matthew, he was at Cambridge. He went to Alexandra Park, went a cracking race last week in behind some Chevron. Caitlin Hanara drives for Salish Abernethy, comes up with barrier 3. It's a good race, the Dunstan Horse Feeds Spring Rewards. You've got Bad Medicine drawing the outside. You've got horses like Wooshka for Kyle Marshall, who's racing really well. But Benjamin Button's won 7 races, a couple of times at Cambridge, and Taitlin's really handling this son of artificial in good style.
And he's in great form as well. And often, Greg, we see these older horses, once they hit form, they're generally able to hold it. And I think these sort of series really favour horses like Benjamin Button. So he's definitely got the barrier draw advantage. Matai, Louis, Bad Medicine both get into the race nicely under their ratings. And Wooshka has been a super consistent mare all the way through this campaign. So you wouldn't write her off as an each-way chance. Looks a pretty competitive go.
Yep, it certainly does. One that doesn't look, well, I'm not going to say overly competitive. It really is Sacred Mountain's Race to Lose, the Better Vet Prepare Spring Rewards final. This is Sacred Mountain running second to Bolt for Brilliance. Just stop for a minute, Matthew, and have a look at Bolt for Brilliance here. Have a look at the stretch on him. I think the 270 for the Renwick Farms Dominion is outstanding because he was first up, he came off the back mark and did that. But removing that from the situation, Sacred Mountain was second best, 20 metres behind, 6 rivals this week. Wouldn't need to lift much off that performance to be winning this. And later, when we get to our best bets of the week, you'll find the man who's absent this week has found it his best.
Oh, well, don't be backing it then. Sacred Mountain, 2,700 in all seriousness though, Greg, off 20 metres, 7-horse field. She could be in front after a lap, and if she's in front, I don't think that there'll be a whole lot of pressure. Ruby Ridge could potentially trot forward like she did last time out, but she's a very good mare, Sacred Mountain, and on her home track, she does look a very good bet. So if you're a Michael Guerin follower and you hope that he doesn't stop it, and I think that you're onto a pretty good thing there. Under the ratings suits the race beautifully. If it was 2,200, maybe a little bit of a concern, but 2,700 off a handicap, small field, brings her right into play.
All right, there are a couple of the Spring Rewards races. We've got another heat in the Neverly R Series. It's heat number 6. Going back to what I said before about number of heats, well, here's an example. Why are there so many in the Neverly R? We need more in the 2-year-olds. Let's leave that there. Matthew, good finish this. Lady of the Light back in form. Gets home, not by much, but comes up with barrier 1 this week. Mickey Montana in 3rd position was nothing short of outstanding. Artisan was also good, both of those from the Purdon Phelan team, but Artisan's 5, Mickey Montana's 8 this week. Advantage to the filly in the blue colours. Yes, I'm talking about Lady of the Light for Jeremy Young and Maury Mack.
Well, she looks like an Oaks filly, Greg, to be fair, and we've seen her already place in the Great Northern Oaks up there in the north, and I'd love to see her get to the Addington Raceway, left-handed way of going, over 2,600 metres. She's obviously going to run into Artie's Express and hopefully a more informed true fantasy, but she's doing that over 1,700. Look out when she gets up over a little bit more ground, and she's got the barrier draw to use there at Cambridge as well. So she looks the horse to beat. Mickey Montana outside of the gate makes it a little bit tricky over that trip, but yeah, I'd be happy to be on her.
Yeah, look, an excellent night there on Thursday night for the Cambridge Club. 10 races, they get underway at 5:45. All of those $20,000 finals along with the Neverly R heat. So, yep, a brilliant night there at Cambridge Raceway. Short break for us. We're getting close to being in your home straight. The box seat brought to you by our stable of sponsors. And the home straight in your box seat. Competition time. Over the last couple of weeks, of course, we've had the Ashburton competition. Here it is. Win 4 tickets to the Ashburton Lounge. It includes food and beverage on Magic Monday, and it's going to be a superb day. We've extended the competition. Gone out another week for you. We want some more entries in there. Box seat at gmail.com. Here's the answers to the questions for the last 2 weeks. So John Hay drove Flashing Red to win. Now, last week, I didn't try and make it a trick question, but a few people come up with 2 different answers. In the last 10 years, how many IRT New Zealand Cup winners have won the Ashburton Flying Stakes? Well, there have been 7 winners of the Flying Stakes have won a New Zealand Cup, but only 5 horses. So either answer I'll take. Here's last year, Self-Assured just beating Classy Brigade. We're making it easy for you people. Who won last year's Ashburton Flying Stakes? Just rewind it on your MySky and you'll get the answer, or you've probably watched that finish and you'll know exactly who it was. boxseatnz@gmail.com. Entries will close on Monday, so get them in. We'll draw it out on next week's show and start the next competition, which is for Alabar Kaikoura Cup Day. So you'll have an opportunity to be in the Alabar tent for the day. The competition for Harness Link, who now are part of the box seat, of course, has closed, and there's a special way they're going to draw the winner of that. More about that on next week's show. But of course, for all your harness racing news worldwide, go to harnesslink.com. Okay, milestones. We had a couple of them over the weekend, and here we find Steph Burley getting home on Better Than Bronze, getting through on the inside in the John Dickey colours. One of 3 winners on the night for Dixie. Of course, we had a look at his free-for-all pacer winning earlier on. So congratulations to you, Steph. and win number 1. I think she's only had a handful of drives here in New Zealand, so congratulations to Steph Burley. Training-wise, Matthew, here's Sam Payne, Anna Love, one of a few long odds winners on a big day at Methven. Johnny Cox getting the business done, of course, from the famous Payne family, so he's got a bit of breeding there in terms of the training caper, and I suppose the biggest surprise was what this filly paid.
$30 odd it was. Gee, it was a day of jackpots there, and a lot went into the big jackpot pull after that. But nice work from Sam as well, going into the race obviously with no pressure. Johnny Cox giving the wee salute out to the car park after the line there on Sunday. But now he's got the first one out of the way. Greg, the momentum will be up, so there might be a young man to follow Sam Payne. I think he's got a couple of nice horses around him, particularly one of his 2-year-old Trotters, Top of the Hill, I think it's called, What the Hill, so that might be one to watch out for. But yeah, a great industry, Greg, for a great thrill, and those 2 young people getting that last week.
Yeah, well, congratulations to them. What about harness racing wise this week? Let's have a look at the map for you. Things get underway at Wyndham on Thursday afternoon. 9 races there, 1:54 the start time, and the start of the multi for hand milking too. More about that in a moment. Cambridge, big night there, 5:45, 10 races, an even bigger night with close to 700,000 on the line. They've had 12 races. They have to have that many because there's that many noms. 442 will be the start time. 200,000 for the biggest race. The 3 big ones there for New Zealand bloodstock standard bred, and of course Awamaru race on Sunday. 10 races there, and 10 past 12 is where the action will kick off there. Best bets update. Going well at the moment, particularly Graham Hand, the hand milking man. He picked up another $475 last week courtesy of his multi, along with Michael and I grabbing ours. Artie by the Hill into Bolt for Brilliance. So I think we're positive about 1,300 at the moment. So things are going well in that department. Mick Guerin not here, but he has come up with a winner. He's gone with Sacred Mountain. Of course, goes round at Cambridge on Thursday night. We'll start pretty short, I think. I was tossing up between 2. When I saw the price for a Cooter, Matthew, I almost changed my best bet of the night because $1.70 I really like, but I think I'll stick with the All-Stars team in Sherlock. Race 2, number 4, Sherlock for me. Race 4, number 1 at Cambridge, and race 4, number 1 at Wyndham for the hand milking team. So let's keep that roll going there. And Jason Board's come up with Wyndham, race 3, Port Pegasus, who's such an honest performer, and he thought Street Art might win at Oamaru too. What about for you? Best bet of the week for you, Matthew?
Last race, Addington, Greg. Revered looks a big drop back. He draws the outside of the arm. It's a huge drop back. In fact, he raced in an up to 70 last time. He gets into an up to 54 with conditions. Mark Purdon on. He'll be in a hurry to get home, I would have thought, at 5 minutes to 10 with the big Hopple day, no doubt, on Saturday. So Revered in the last race looks a very winnable go for him. So we'll go him as the best. Anything over 250, 280? I think you'd be going hard.
All right, you have to stick around right through the night to be able to get Matt's best of the week. Next week at Addington Raceway, it's the last meeting prior to New Zealand Cup meetings, so they're having something unique. IRT have put together a Legends Night. Look out for the race names next week, something a little bit different and something that I really encourage. You know, I'd like to see history being preserved and by naming some of these races, and next week's Legends Night at Addington after some of those that have contributed, whether it be equine or human. I think it's really important that we do that. So Addington next week. Go to addington.co.nz, check out those Cup Week tickets. I can tell you, Matthew, with the interest from Australia and the number of Australians, hopefully the 2 of them coming for the Cup, the media interests, people like Brittany Graham coming across, Adam Hamilton and the like, it's really starting to build, and I have an expectation now there'll be quite a lot more Aussies coming across for the great race and the great week. So all's boding well as we build towards another classic, the 2022 edition.
My advice, Greg, to anybody out there would be, if you know one person or 3 people who don't really follow the racing game, but they like to go to Cup Day, get in touch with them, direct them in the direction of the Addington website and tell them that it is really important that they book their tickets now, because it could well be a scenario of no walk-ups being available on the day. If you roll up to the gate, they might be saying, can't help you, sorry, this joint is full, it's chocker. And over the back here, Greg, the tents, the marquees and everything are already going up, and it's quite scary getting to this point of the year, Greg, because there's kind of no stopping now. The momentum's up. It's a big moment for everybody that's all involved, and very much like Riccarton Park will be, I would say it will be chocker. So you've got to remember, Greg, you've got people who couldn't go last year, and then you've got all of the people prior to that in the 12 months who turned 18 who have never been to Cup Day. So we've got about 2
Very good
years
point, Matthew.
of people who are absolutely eager to get to Cup Day, and you people out there might know 2 or 3 of them. Just pass on the message. Addington.co.nz, jump online. It's very, very simple to get your tickets. Once you've got them, they're locked in. So, yeah, I wouldn't suggest waiting till the day, Greg, to try and roll up to the gate, because
Totally
you might
agree,
get the no deal.
and I understand why you came up with that, because you're a lot closer to 18 than I am, and certainly a lot closer than Michael Guerin, who will be back next week. Thanks for your time, Matthew. Really appreciate you coming on the show, and all the best in the next month as we build toward what is a massive week for you.
I think I'm a bit more receding than what you are, Greg. I don't know about being older, but thanks for having me. Looking forward to the week ahead.
Beautiful. Thank you, Matthew. I'll see you in 7 days' time. The Box Seat, brought to you by our stable of sponsors. Harness Link for your worldwide harness coverage. New Zealand Bloodstock Standardbred, where winning begins. Brecon Farms. Stonewall Stud. IRT, it's your horse and our passion. Australasian-wide Garrard's Horse and Hound. Renwick Farms. Lincoln Farms. Harness Racing New Zealand. And the clubs Addington, Ashburton, Alexandra Park and Cambridge.